Mm.
Uh, Hello, everyone. My name is Fatima. Thank you so much for taking the time to join in today. And I hope we're going to have an interactive session. Um, Here's a little bit about me. So I am from Maiduguri. I was born and raised there. I'm from a family of seven. I've got four siblings. And seven, including my parents. I attended my primary school and part of my secondary school in Maiduguri, and then I moved to Yola, to AUN Academy. And from then, I did my undergrad in Federal University Duse, where I studied economics. And I proceeded, then I did my service in Abuja in Petroleum Equalization Fund in the operations department, and I moved to do my postgraduate degree in Halt Business School. I studied international business and I specialized in finance. So from then, it was a dual master's program. So I accepted to take the dual master's in San Francisco, and I studied disruptive innovation. And from there, I moved to I received an offer to become a process governance analyst for NBC Universal. And from San Francisco, I moved to Los Angeles, and I'm currently residing there. Um, Actually, I'll be here for exactly a year. This month, I clocked in a year. Um, so it's been a very interesting journey for me, especially in the past 3 years. It's been a lot of roller coaster, but it's nice and it's exciting. And I would like to call out that I wasn't alone in this entire journey. I had a very strong support system. My parents were always there. My dad and my mom uh, were there for me, and they encouraged me a lot. Um, so, well, my interests while growing up and still as of now, I like to read. I like to read self development books. If you need some tips from me or some insights on the books I've read, we can connect on that later. I take walks, a lot of walks actually, to clear my head. I'm not a gym buddy, so I like to just take walks to exercise. I like to meditate. I am very interested in landscape photography, and I like design and architecture. Like, well, I don't draw well, but I like taking pictures of architectural buildings. So moving on, I hope you know a little bit about me. And today I intend for us to have a very interactive session. I wouldn't be comfortable just speaking by myself. It's a workshop or whatever you would call it. It's a session, but I would like as much interaction from you as possible, even though I would be speaking a lot more. But then I have got interactive links where you would be expected to tell me what your thoughts are, and then we would go over it. And there's a quiz at the end. As Mr. Islan said, I am actually grateful to him for giving me this chance. This is the first time that I am speaking. Um, can you see my screen though?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you so much. So the discussion for today would be talking about innovation, the definition, the key concepts, and then there's this very interesting innovation model that is called the 10 types of innovation. And we're going to go across the emerging and cutting edge innovation. Um, and areas, and then we'll talk about the drivers, and then the most interesting part, innovation in Africa. Um, so that would be it. I hope you would find it a lot interesting. And I would like for us to scan, or I don't know whether you have had an experience with menti.com. So you can just type in menti.com in your browser, and then you can enter this code. But actually, let me see if I can just give you the barcode so that you can. I'm sorry, I'm trying to change the presentation window.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, you can scan this barcode if you're using your computer, or you can enter this code, but you can go to menti.com, and I look forward to receiving your responses. Actually, the first one is what you're hoping to get out of this session. Please let me know if you're having any difficulties. And I apologize in advance in case we encounter any technical glitch. Okay. So I see innovation, I see confidence, I see motivation, I see learn more about skills. I see 5 people in here. Are the others having problems connecting? If you are, you can just drop in a comment. Okay, to be like me. I'm honored. Actually, hope to be more than me. Knowledge, critical thinking. Okay. Self-development, skill acquisition. I'm going to give it 30 more seconds and then we'll move from this slide. Okay, I see motivation really standing out. I'm glad to see that. Well, I think it's almost 30 seconds. So I am going to go out of this and we would go back to so the next slide is regarding what you think innovation is. And I'm going to also make that interaction very interactive, sorry. And we'll see what your responses are. Then I would go with defining what innovation is for you from my own point of view. You can still use GoToMenti, but then the code would be a different code. And thank you so much for this in advance. Is anyone facing difficulties with this? Okay. I don't know whether, can you please respond a bit? Are you able to connect?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Have you,
you can't see the code.
okay. Oh, I'm seeing, okay, I'm going back to sharing so you can connect. I've started seeing responses. At first, I thought I was having an issue with that. Okay, so innovation means progress, creativity, problem solving, accurate, very accurate. I don't want this to take much of our time, so I would wait for another minute and then we'll start with the main presentation.
So since we're not doing it,
Change. Guidance. Oh, okay, I think a minute has passed, so I'm just gonna go back. Oh, we've got more. Useful newness, insight. Okay, I'll go back to the presentation now. Um, okay. So basically, from my understanding, all the responses that you made through Menti is accurate. Everything is spot on, but there's definitely a very singular definition. And there's no wrong or right about this. It is just what you think it is. But innovation is a dynamic and essential concept that drives progress, growth, success in various domains, including areas regarding business or technology, the science and the society, and literally every little thing. It could be even in your day-to-day activities, right? It encompasses the generation and development and improvement of new ideas or methods or products or like processes of doing things that would bring value or bring a positive change to an activity or a product or a model or anything. So as Mr. Rislan mentioned earlier, that majority of you are very tech savvy, and then you moved, no, actually, not that example. I'd say the course name was remodeled because of the failure rate and things like that. So when you just improve something, even if it's an upgrade, I know a lot of you go through system upgrades from your computers to your phones. That is innovation because they're fixing bugs, they're fixing situations or any possible inconveniences that you could be facing in order to add more value to you. That is just in simple terms. So anytime you think about upgrade or improvement, that would lead to a positive change or an easier way of reaching a certain point or achieving value, that would be considered innovation. So I'm going to take you through the notions about innovation. First of all, innovation is not an invention. So innovation is basically um, it does involve invention, right? But then it is not invention from the scratch because there has to be something, an underlying process, an existing product, or an initiative that has been there that has to be improved on. Because invention is literally starting something from the scratch completely. And so innovation is not invention. It may involve invention, but it requires many other things, and that would require or include a deep understanding of whether a customer or person desires that invention to work better for them in order to like deliver better and just improve on things. Now, heads up, this is going to be a very, very business focused because I am business focused when it comes to innovation. I'm not more on the technical part. So, the second notion about innovation is that innovators have to earn their keep. So the simple way of putting this is that innovation has to return a value to you. If it doesn't return any value to you, then it's almost useless to you. There's no point in upgrading if it's not going to improve anything for you. It would literally be a waste of time. So it could be your enterprise. If you want to, have the privilege of making one day, you would like to think about two things in terms of the viability of that. And the criteria would be whether what the venture that you're thinking about going on, it could be business, it could be education, it could be anything else, whether it would be able to sustain itself. But in this case, mostly it's the business sense. Would it be able to sustain itself long term? And also, would it return the value in the future? So you have to think on a very, very long term when it comes to innovation. And then, to be honest, there's a notion that very little is truly new in innovation. And that is kind of true because, well, if it's not invention, then there's something and it's not completely new. There has to be a very, very familiar aspect of it. So, you know, there's this saying that every living thing comes from a living thing. Well, that is true. And too often, like, we fail to appreciate most innovation based off of previous advances because we think, well, this isn't something relevant, but actually it is, especially when it comes to business or things that go on in the world, even with interactions. It does not have to be new. It can be familiar, and it's very okay for that to happen. It could be based off of product or market or whatever it is that you do. Then with innovation, you have to think beyond a product. As I've been saying earlier, it could be either product or business or process or anything else, but it could be more than products. It should encompass just new ways of doing things, doing a business, making more money, improving your systems, improving ways to even deliver your systems or your product or services. I know that a lot of youths now, especially in Abuja, are into, having their own side business, which is very good. So you could definitely use this ideology into improving your business and just earning more for yourself, and potentially scaling your business into a greater heights in the future. So there are key concepts that are related to innovation. And I was so glad to see that earlier when I asked you what your thought process is regarding innovation. I saw creativity come up. I saw problem solving come up. Um, and all the other words that I saw there were very relevant. But these are key concepts of that are related to innovation. So where you find innovation, you find creativity, because the entire idea regarding upgrading something or improving something, you've got to be creative about ways to do that. So innovation begins with creativity, mostly. Like, no, actually not mostly, all the time. So it involves generating a valuable idea towards a solution. And it is also the ability to think outside the box. Now, there's a funny phrase, all the time you hear think outside the box. To be honest, I'd like to think you should throw away the box. There shouldn't be a box in the first place. You can go wild with your creativity. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you think that there are new ways of devising something, just don't restrict yourself. Think outside the box, explore new possibilities of improvement. It could be personal improvement for yourself, or it could be a business. It could be even a new way to study. If you used to write things down, you can decide to use Microsoft Notes. You could decide to use Apple Notes. If it helps you better, then that is also innovation. It's just upgrading the way you study. If you study by yourself and you've realized that it would be more efficient for you to have a group sessions, absolutely, you can consider that innovation too. So just explore new possibilities and connect seemingly unrelated concepts to create something new or something original. And that is groundbreaking and that works. That is creativity. And that is heavily, heavily synced with innovation. Now, another key related concept would be problem solving. There can be no innovation without the thought around solving a problem. Problems have to be solved. You encounter them every day, and it is closely linked because it involves identifying challenges. There are challenges, pain points, unmet needs. Well, basically for me, even in my workplace now, I deal with a lot of actually one of my core tasks is identifying pain points, because I really love the idea of problem solving. Yeah, I can rack my brain all day over that. So if you're able to identify a pain point, in a process or in a product or in anything that you do, and you're able to solve it or divisively use creative thinking towards solving that problem, then you can consider yourself an innovator. So innovators basically analyze problems from different angles. It doesn't have to be black or white. It can be blue. It can be any other thing. You look at things on a 360 angle. And then if you apply critical thinking and you leverage your creativity, you can develop real effective and inventive approaches. Now, that is where invention comes in. Um, so you cannot be there can be no innovation without risk taking. So innovation requires a lot of risk taking because it is usually, as much as it is a familiar terrain, it is also a very new terrain because you don't know whether that is going to backfire. You don't know what is going to happen as a result of what you're thinking. So, an innovator is a risk taker, and with innovation thinking comes risk taking. So it involves venturing into uncharted territories, challenging the status quo, and embracing uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty that could come with innovation, and innovators need to understand that not all their ideas are going to succeed, and that's one thing that also comes with risk taking. Not everything becomes a success story, but and there's nothing wrong with failing as well. I think people fail more than they succeed, but the only funny thing is that is the success stories that you hear more. So innovators should understand that not all their ideas would succeed, and they should be willing to experiment either way. Now, the beauty in risk taking is you don't know, but you still push forward. And that is very powerful. And I'm not even talking about this based off of innovation, it could be also in your own everyday life. So you learn from in innovation, you learn from failures and you persevere and you um, put your foot and you try to break through towards new innovations and solutions. So it also comes heavily with collaboration. So collaboration and teamwork really play a crucial role in fostering innovation because it brings together and one thing with creativity or with collaboration is I mentioned earlier that with problem solving, also you need to think about things using a 360 approach. Sometimes it's hard to do that, so you need to collaborate for that to happen. You need to bring a team together. You need to work with people, and and then from there, because you don't have all the skills no matter how hard you try, so it involves using diverse perspectives, skills and expertise that can lead to a cross pollination of ideas and emergence of innovative solutions. And a very collaborative environment encourages an open communication, trust, knowledge sharing, and it fuels creativity and it accelerates innovation process and its progress as well. That is why it is heavily linked. So with innovation comes a need for continuous improvement. Innovation is not limited to creating something entirely new, and it is incremental with it encompasses incremental improvements and advancements, and it is just a continuous process. It never ends. You can never say this is an end to upgrading this. There's always going to be something that needs to be fixed, and that is why you fix bugs and with your operating systems. So the concept of continuous improvement, emphasizing on the continuous or ongoing effort to refine the existing process or product or service, and just in in the bid to seek to enhance efficiency and quality and satisfaction. For it could be customer satisfaction or employer satisfaction or anything. So innovation comes with is heavily linked with adaptability as well. You need to be flexible, you need to be very adaptable. You cannot be rigid when it comes to innovation. You cannot, I mean, it's good to have focus, but things could change real quick, and you need to be comfortable with that, and you need to be comfortable with change. So and then if you are able to embrace change, then everything else that comes with problem solving, collaboration, and all the other points I explained earlier would become easy, because innovators are basically very flexible and they're responsive to evolving market dynamics, emerging technologies, because the world is very fast paced. Everything changes within a nanosecond. So and so same thing as technology and same thing as innovation. So now cost innovators should be willing to adapt strategies, products, and processes to stay ahead of the game. So like you got to stay ahead of the curve. You need to remain relevant, or you need your innovation to remain relevant, and that is why it is very forward thinking. You need to think 10 steps ahead. You need to think what the future would look like. um, Unrelated to this, but there's something called scenario thinking or scenario mapping, where you imagine how the world would look like in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years, and see whether your business or your idea is actually going to fit as of then, or even your skill. It could be your skill. Like, are you going to be marketable? I know there's a lot of controversy regarding AI. We're going to talk about that in the future. But yeah, you need to, as an innovator, you need to think ahead of the curve. And innovation is, as it is on its own, is heavily linked with that. Then innovation encompasses a very user centric approach, which is scalability. Successful innovation mostly stems from a very deep understanding of how an end user or customer would approach things, or how they would do things. So, and that user centric approach helps in conducting research and gathering feedback. And it also helps with development process. So it ensures that the innovation is tailored in such a way that it would meet a user's need, or the end person's needs, and their preferences and their expectations. If that category is satisfied, then your innovative idea is most likely going to scale. And then there's disruption as well. So disruption means that innovation has the power to disrupt an ongoing process. It could be an existing industry, it could be an existing market, it could be an existing practice. A clear example of disruption that I can give you is how Kodak, and with when digital cameras came into existence, the films that we used to take pictures, or that very very archaic process. And sometimes you would have your pictures taken and you'd not be able to have them because something happened with the production process as of that time. um, Digital cameras really disrupted Kodak, and Kodak had to close because they were not thinking ahead. They were not trying to be flexible or adaptable to stay relevant. And Well, moving forward, I think what would happen would be premium video on demand, such as like the videos you can watch or movies that you can watch on Netflix, disrupting the use of DVD. I don't even think we use CD players anymore. So it could go along the same lines as music as well. You know, before, back in the day, we would buy like CDs and would have CD racks, and you would even play them in your car. Now cars mostly, I think, I don't know too much about cars, so don't quote me if I'm wrong, but they mostly don't have those slots where you can, you know, put in a CD player. It would be you connecting to a Bluetooth or you connecting to an aux. So innovation really causes disruption, and in a big way. It could drive a business down. It could make people run out of their jobs. Uh, but disruptive innovation challenges um, are around establishing norms and introducing revolutionary ideas and technology that would fundamentally change the way things are done. It would usually result to a creation of a new market, a new target market, a new segment in the market, and it would displace incumbents and it would reshape the dynamics of industries. Um, so I have kind of mixed everything up, but these are the key concepts that I could identify that are heavily related to innovation. So the interesting part I told you about, the 10 types of innovation. Um, so there are categories to this. There's the experience part, there's the offering part, and there's the configuration part, right? So basically 10 types of innovation framework is very simple and intuitive. It is just a useful tool that you can both use to diagnose and enrich an innovation that you're working on. And it could also be used to analyze an existing competition. So it makes it very easy to spot errors, especially errors of omission, meaning areas that you're not looking at, areas that you're not heavily focused on, that you could be easily swept off your feet from, and then that would make your balance in the market or with your product shake a bit. You have something to say?
Yusuf, you're making noise.
No. Can you mute yourself, please? Okay, thank you. Oh no.
kuma shi ne ƙara komawa shi ne attackers ɗin da ke nan kawai sun kai su buga bari ga rikici neman wanda za su musulman gwaje-gwaje ne in ba su yi wasa ba wallahi sai musu kai wasa gwaje-gwaje za a musu.
Ma, just remove him from the class. Exit him.
Andy, guys, shut up.
I'm trying to
Ball.
figure out
He's
how to
playing
do
ball,
that.
ma.
Okay, yeah. Omar, did you raise a
So
hand?
Mr. Risland said you have something for me.
Yeah, let's we'll connect after that, after I'm done. So I was talking about the 10 types of innovation framework. It is very simple and intuitive, and it could help you identify areas in your business or in your innovation that you're not looking at. And the 10 types of innovation framework is structured into three color-coded categories. Now that is very intentional. And then the types on the left side of the framework are mostly internally focused and distant from customers. As you can move toward, the right, and then the types become increasingly apparent and they become very obvious to end users. And that's what I'm talking about on the experience side. In this case, on the lower side. So it is basically, well, I try to put everything in a format that would all be viewable, but it is from a top to bottom approach, okay? And then it is like so the left framework or the top framework is very backstage, and the right is very on stage. That is what people see. That is the offering that you're given. So when using 10 types of innovation, there are definitely things to remember. 100. When using it, you don't set your expectations too wide, right? Don't set a very wide scope, else you would get confused. And then you cannot use that to analyze an entire organization. It would confuse you. And well, in the words of the author, it would actually only drive you crazy. Instead, you should focus on a particular platform within the innovation scope or within the area that you want to focus on. And you need to keep the bar very high. You need to hold yourself to greater standards because innovation comes with quality, real high quality. And given the framework that given the nature of the framework in such a way that it covers a spectrum of business, it can be tempted to give yourself, like it can be very tempting to give yourself credit because you're doing something within an innovative scope. And that's regarding a business mostly, right? So when we talk about the configuration, which is like the backstage, I'm sure that you guys, if any of you has ever created a business plan or have come across the word business model, it encompasses profit model as well. How do you intend to scale your innovation to a point where you would be able to make money out of it? If it's for money. In this case, we're assuming it could be a business because it's a business model. It could be a product model. But how do you make money off it? You need to think about it. So some people, there's so many profit models. Some people use subscription model. Some people use like direct normal model. You sell, you earn revenue out of your sales. But at the same time, if you're not thinking about that in your innovation process, then it has to be like, how are you really adding value? If you're not really adding value to yourself in terms of revenue or profit, then your innovation is actually not working. So you also need to think about your network. How do you scale this innovation? How do you improve on things? How are you trying to, so I don't know whether you've heard of the word your network is your net worth. If you've got this innovation, how are people knowing about the fact that you're improving on things? Now, this is beyond you and your day-to-day, and even if it's within you and your day-to-day thing, but is anyone getting inspired by it? That's another angle to look at it. If it's not for profit, but is your network improving? Is it making situations better for you? If all of that is not aligning, then especially in your business, then you have to rethink how your business is wired, and also what is the structure like. The structure is basically how you connect with technology, how you connect with external factors and internal factors that would affect your business. How is it structured? What are your processes? Are they difficult processes? If you have a business that is like based off of service or delivery, what is your turnaround time like? If you evaluate and it's too much, and how do you receive feedback? How do you improve on it? If that is also not working, then you need to upgrade on your structure, and then that would be innovating your business structure. And then what is the process also, like what steps are you taking? What is your so structure is just a general structure of how things are done in bulk and how things are interconnected for your business. But with process, it goes with step by step activities that you take to um, to offer services, to create your product, to well, basically, since this is a business model, it's basically offering services or creating a product. Um, what is lacking? What can you improve on? And that was why I told you initially that with innovation, there's always something to improve on. If you have a business, you need to think about these core pillars. There's always something that could make your business better. And if you're focusing on improving on that, then you're definitely innovating. And when it comes to offering, then you think about your product performance. Is it actually doing what you're asking it to do, or what you're selling it to be doing? There's a lot of controversy regarding false advertisement. You wouldn't want to do that. Innovation comes with a lot of credibility, with a lot of originality, and a lot of quality. So if your product is performing really well, that does not also mean that you should relax. You can think about how to make it even better. As I said earlier, there's always something to make a situation better. You can think about areas that, sometimes it's easier to map things out. I like to write things down on maybe sticky notes, and just see, okay, this is doing this, this is doing that, this is doing what it's supposed to be doing. But then when you look at when you're done mapping everything out and you look at it, you'd be able to see whether there's any area that needs an improvement. And you cannot say that the performance of, and the easiest way also to have a gauge regarding your product performance is through surveys. You can take surveys, and you can ask for your customers' opinion. That is definite, and you would receive reviews. Now, on a scale of 1 to 100, what is the percentage of the good reviews that you're receiving? If it's on a 50, you need to really up your game. If it's on an 80, there's still room for improvement. And even if you're at 90 or so, you need to look at the few other bad reviews that you received based off of the performance of your product. Maybe it is not satisfying your target market's need, or it's not working for them. If it's food business, maybe sometimes there are days that your recipe is not perfect, and people don't like the taste and things like that. So you need to be, and with product performance, the easiest way to be able to gauge that, it would be heavy on data. So you need to really focus on data. And well, while mapping this out, you can think of a product system as well, because from then you'd be able to, and that goes along the same lines as structure. What is the main system that you're using to improve on the offering? that you're getting. And if it could go down to something as easy as raw materials. Well, if it's an app, you could think of what are the skills that you're using that could, or what is the new technology that you're not using that makes up the system of a product offering. And then you move to experience, which is like what the end users experience firsthand, because all of that is like back end work. It goes from fully backstage to a little bit revealing to your target market, to it being completely in their face, and that's the experience part. What is your service? How efficiently are you offering that? What is the best way you can improve on that? Um, and then if it's channel, what is the best way that you're being accessible to your target market? I see a lot of people, especially with Nigerian businesses, Instagram is a very popular platform for you to market your products, and then, or market yourself too. And then people would, but the easiest example that I have for you is regarding products. You would see maybe a bag that you like, and they would say DM for price. That automatically cuts off. If even if a person is willing to buy, it kind of, they have to be really, really interested to go to the point of like DMing you for the price, because people want things fast and easy and quick. They don't, and they don't want to, they want to make a quick decision, a really quick decision. And that is also affecting your service, because some people take time to respond to those DMs. And before you know it, you've probably had about 10 people go to your page, come across your post, or you trying to advertise your product, but then they get interested. But because they lack the adequate information, they scroll through, and you've lost like potentially 8 people, because it would actually, out of those 10 people, it would be about 2 people that would go through the trouble of sending you a message to get more information. So channel is very, very important. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to the example that I'm giving right now. And with brand, you need to find a creative concept of branding yourself. Branding is very, very important, because with branding, you could, that is why the luxury sector is thriving. That is why a lot of, let me give you an example. Sometimes you go to, about expensive restaurants where you go there, but they serve you little amount of food, where you would eat, pay a lot of money, and then you'd have to go back home and eat. So you're actually not going there for getting your belly filled up, but you're going there for the experience, and also based off of the brand, based off of the reputation that they have established for themselves, that you think that they are worthy for you to attend, sorry, not to attend, to visit, or be engaged with the experience or service that they're offering you. So that is very important as well. Branding comes in so many ways, and branding determines how you're being perceived by your target market and the public in general. So then it also goes down to customer engagement. How are you engaging with your customers? Are you being nice to them? Are you being rude? Are you having a very, very high or low quick turnaround time? Do they feel as if they're being attended to? One thing that from what I used to understand that banks didn't play with was customer engagement. I know that these days it's another story, but if you're a brand or if you're a business, you would really want to focus on this. If you currently have a business this is, these structures that I just spoke about are structures that you would not want to sleep on. It is something that you would want to really explore and improve. And you're being innovative by doing that. And you're also reaching a point where you'd be able to let your business thrive and survive on its own. And one thing is your brand is not you. Also, going back to that, you need to be able to separate that, and that's why your business needs to have its own reputation on its own. I can give you a clear example of one time that I did some innovation consulting for an Italian company. So it was a company where they were creating products, and everyone in the company was heavily invested. They were sinking in a lot of money, but at the same time, they were not focusing on these things. Um, they would move from one place to the other. They said their whole idea was very displaced. One time they would try to sell their things on the internet. The next they would be in person, maybe at the airport, get a stand or get a shelf or a store, or collaborate with other stores. But they did not have a strong link and synergy towards the structures that they wanted to have for their business, and they kept losing money because of that. So if you're incorporating this to improve your business, there has to be a great deal of synergy that would come along with implementing that. So there's a whole book regarding 10 types of innovation, actually. If any of you is interested in that, I can share that with you. It is definitely an interesting read. So I'm going to share ways that you can connect with me later on. And we're talking about emerging innovations around the world. The first thing that would come to your head would be AI. Everyone says AI is out there to take our jobs. AI is this, AI is that. I'm sure you all like ChatGPT, and you probably use them. It's very efficient, to be honest. Um, but artificial intelligence is basically the ability of a computer or a robot controlled by a computer to do tasks that are usually done by humans because they require human intelligence and discernment. So that is just the definition that you can come across on the internet. But from my own point of view, artificial intelligence isn't that scary, because at the end of the day, a computer is a computer. Um, you need to feed it with something. So, and recently I have come across a lot of opportunities regarding, because companies are starting to create, because they understand the relevance for artificial intelligence now. They're starting to create opportunities or departments where they would be in control of AI. So if you're able to understand how to maneuver AI, then you would definitely not run out of your job. And the best way to do that is to like always try to upskill. So it is an innovation that is scary because it is an unknown terrain. It is definitely taking over the world, but it is also very, very efficient. I know, well, like your students, you would definitely agree to that. It is efficient. You tell it what you want, and it gives you the result that you would need. And you would need to use your own intuition to um, make it as accurate or as elaborate as possible. So AI can just give you exactly what you want, but AI is not intuitive. AI cannot take a decision, and that is the power that you have being, a human that can control that. it is very, very interesting. It is an interesting innovation. It is interesting technology, and especially because it's heavily linked with machine learning. Also, it learns on its own. It's got its own responses. People are saying that AI is sentient, meaning that it's starting to have human feelings. I I definitely don't know about that, but if you would like to explore areas regarding AI, especially with your business or with your in your future endeavor. AI is heavily linked to innovation. Then augmented reality. So augmented reality is in particular very, very useful in education because you'd be able to, especially let's say areas regarding medicine, you'd be able to handpick, and it doesn't take you out of your reality, but you'd be able to handpick what this is. Let's say you're learning about the heart, you'd be able to see it in your face, wearing, well, definitely through the use of goggles, but then you'd be able to learn more. It's hands on, it's immersive, you learn faster, you engage more. It's not just one person just talking and talking and talking and you not being able to relate. Because to be honest, I understand that a lot of us have short attention span. I also do. So augmented reality is a cutting edge innovation that is transforming the world and is transforming industries and sectors as well. It is basically an enhanced version of real physical world, and it is achieved through the use of digital visual elements. It could be, well, visual elements, sound, and other sensory stimuli that is delivered via technology. Um, the growing trend regarding augmented reality is involved in mobile computing and business applications. A lot of it actually in heavily invested in business. And well, the exciting part, the metaverse. I'm sure all of you have heard about the metaverse in one way or the other through Mark Zuckerberg's video. I think it was, I don't know whether it was last year or the year before. I cannot remember, but yeah, there's this idea of metaverse. You can even buy a house in metaverse now. You can buy a land in metaverse, and apparently it has value. I haven't done it, so I don't know how, but it's a cutting edge innovation that is very futuristic. Personally, if you ask me, I think the technology isn't fully mature yet, but it is here and it is here to stay. And it refers to an immersive and persistent three-dimensional virtual realm, and it is shared with many users, and it spans across digital platforms, and it merges with the physical world as well. And you can shop, you can work, you can play, you can hang out, you can do whatever you want to do in real time. So I remember there was a time that I attended an information session for a company. And well, I wasn't fully into the metaverse, but I had to download a software, and I had an avatar. I designed her according to how I wanted her to look. I gave her my name, and then it was an interactive activity. It was an informational session. You'd see other avatars as well. You would be able to talk to them, either using your voice or using another voice. And it was very, very exciting, to be honest. It was something very, very new. Um, so it is definitely very progressive as well, and it helps because it gives you a better experience. So if you're interested, any of you is interested in learning more and focusing more on these new innovations, please do so. It would open up a lot of opportunities for you. um, Then moving on to virtual reality, this has been there in existence for a certain amount of time, and it is basically computer generated environment with scenes and objects, and it appears to be real because it gives you an experience of immersion in your surroundings. Um, a clear example of that is people use virtual reality for playing games a lot. A lot of times, I know that. And then also, well, there was I'd like to give you from my examples. You can use it for to make a lot of money for a lot of immersive experiences because people would be wowed. People tend to be really wowed when they're fully immersed into something. That's what they would want. Like you would see someone wearing the VR goggles and they would be like falling on the ground. It could be them watching something scary, and it's really exciting. And there's a lot of hype around its use, that technology is used, and then if there's any way, it's always undergoing improvements by the day. Um, and it could be in any industry, to be honest. It could be tourism, entertainment, technology, agriculture, healthcare, anything else. Um, and then we move to synthetic biology. I'm sure you have heard of news about, lab grown meat and chicken and all of that. It is something that is fairly new. It has not been fully accepted yet because even myself, from my own opinion, I wouldn't eat lab grown meat, but it basically involves like design and construction of novel artificial biological pathways, organisms, and devices. And they redesign the existing natural biological systems. Now, that could be helpful. It could be helpful, especially for, oh, thank you. So it could be really helpful in situations where there's a need for that. But at the same time, there are a lot of questions around it because sometimes it defies the laws of nature, and there are a lot of ethical. So among all the cutting edge innovation and technology that I've mentioned earlier, the one that is the most controversial and that has a lot of ethical considerations regarding it would be synthetic biology, followed by artificial intelligence. But it is also here to stay. The good part of it is using synthetic biology. You can actually use that to improve agriculture. Um, you can have plants or crops grow within a very short amount of time because they're genetically modified, and that helps in like food production. It would cure, or it would help with dealing with a lot of issues that the world is facing regarding hunger and famine, and all of these things. If there's no rain or drought, if there's no rain, you can use synthetic biology to grow food, and people would be fine. Now, the if they would be able to, or if someone, maybe it could be you, if you'd be able to have a better way around using synthetic biology for a better course, I think it would not have the existing controversy around it. So, leading areas of innovation is basically technological advancements. And in the previous slide, I was heavily focused on technological advancements, but besides that, there are other areas such as scientific discoveries. There are a lot of discoveries that we come across. From COVID is a clear example. People are working day and night to try to understand or try to find the cure for cancer. Every now and then there would be a broadcast that a potential cure has been found. There's been one few months ago too. So everything is that they're doing is heavily linked to innovation. They're leveraging technology. The good part about most of it is a lot of it is heavily linked. They're using technology for that, and you can use that for discovering a new industry. A clear example I gave you was regarding the Kodak situation, where there's now another version of an entirely different industry for digital cameras. And then you could also find that and you can use technology also to identify or discover new industries, and that reveals a whole new set of target market, because there's always one thing that I'd like to call out is there would always be a segment or category of people that would be willing to accept your innovation or technology. That is a whole different conversation, but there are 5 categories of people. We've got the early adopters. Those ones are quick, pretty quick to, adopt new technology, either because they're very interested in technology or because they want to use that for bragging rights. There were people that started using what do you call it, electric cars, even before it was confirmed to be safe. Well, it could even be for exploratory purposes, but I'm sure you have all heard about the rich people that died underground because they were trying to experience have Titanic experience. They were trying to see the shipwreck. So there are people that are quick, and then there are people that get a bit comfortable as the technology matures, and then there are people that would, and those ones that wait to be a bit comfortable are the ones that kind of give reviews, right? And the moment they start giving reviews, then we have like the early majority. Then the early majority would adopt that technology, which is, I think, a clear example of a technology that is in the early majority stage would be metaverse. And then there's the late majority. Those ones are the ones that would adopt a new technology after everyone has done that. They have to be certain, they have to be sure that it would not be harmful for them in any way. Those ones really take their time with change management. And we have the laggards. Those ones are just, you don't even focus on them, because you would never be able to win them over, so there's no need to waste your time. So there's when with innovation comes exploration or identification of new industries, and there's always a target market for them. That was why I explained the categories of people when it comes to scaling and innovation. So there's always another person, and also with discovering new industries comes with discovering new applications, softwares, systems, processes. Adobe is part of that. It supports like digital images. So there's a lot of opportunities that comes with innovation, because one thing would lead to another. And so far, I think you've understood that it's always a chain. It always links to one thing or the other. And then Transportation and mobility is one good example. That is a leading area in innovation. All of you can relate to how convenient Bolt and Uber is. Because before you would need to get a cab, but at your convenience, you'd be able to get a clean car, a driver, and that would actually take you from point A to point B, sometimes at an affordable rate, sometimes not. But at the end of the day, that is the point that is being achieved is there's convenience that is the value that is derived from that. And with finance and business achievement, with innovation, there are a lot of financial softwares that you can use to make things easier for you. An example is SAP. Another example is all these accounting softwares and platforms. You've got QuickBooks. You can easily build ledgers and invoices and have clear structure where you would not be having errors, because when everything is done in a very traditional way, there would be errors, because to err is human, right? So innovation plays a huge factor in finance and business, and also it rescues a lot of businesses from running bankrupt, because you'd be able to have early indicators of what is actually going on. And with sustainable solutions and practices, I think that is a great opportunity, because we need that more than ever as of now, because there was a recent announcement, I think, by a UN head, that we have passed global warming now. As funny as it sounds, but yeah, we've reached the stage of global boiling. So if there are opportunities to explore ways that we could be using sustainable solutions to help with that. There are a lot of strategies towards cooling effects for cities. You could leverage technology. I think the only thing that would not fall into the line of sustainable solutions, or an industry that is not fully linked with that, would be finance and transport. But all these others, looking back at technological advancement, scientific discoveries, industrial discoveries, and industrial applications, all of it can also be linked to sustainable solutions. There are ways that you could reduce waste. I know that even in Nigeria, I've come across videos where people use recycled plastic and they use them for building, which is very creative and very innovative. So it could be based off of little things that you can see. And there are also other areas that I haven't mentioned, but so far these are the leading areas. And feel free to explore if you're interested in doing that. I think it covers, or it touches base with, a lot of things that would be relatable to you. So we're going to look at key drivers um, that lead to a globally dispersed innovation. The first thing that is very important, I don't know whether you have, any of you has studied economics at any level, but government has a very crucial role to play in innovation, technological advancements, because they could easily issue out a rule or a regulation that could stop a lot of things from happening. And so when we look at national macroeconomic policies, we can look at an increase in cross-border foreign direct investment. When there's cross-border foreign direct investment, it comes with an accompanying knowledge transfer, because people from other countries that have other different experiences would be able to come in, invest, transfer knowledge from industrialized countries, and multinationals would also be able to host their country partners. And at the same time, there'd be this a very forward-looking thought process around having technocrats and like important countries that are not actually um, left behind when it comes to that are innovation leaders. Basically, we could say countries like China, India, Singapore, South Korea, and even Israel. So they have a lot of instituted progressive initiatives, especially in education and in industrial development, and most importantly, research and development. And that would drive or increase indigenous capabilities towards higher values that would be achieved, and also basically increased education and school enrollment could be an added factor because there's a lot of knowledge transfer. And then with that, that could even eradicate poverty when you look at it. So the second would be information and technology and communications technology. The global redistribution of services such as software development has enabled the ability of information transmission. You can basically know what is happening in another part of the world without even like from the comfort of your bed at any point given, as long as you have access to mobile data or Wi-Fi, and then you can also transmit information in real time, and you'd be able to like connect. The world is very interconnected now, and more recently, the confluence of social media and networking and cloud computing are leading developments, especially especially in the Bay Area, but also in other parts of the country and other parts of the world as well. And that is facilitating a deeper collaboration and funding across borders. Now we're going to talk about funding in like the next two slides, but it paves way for new generation of startups. And these startups are very innovation driven, and the transformation of processes between enterprises across the borders would lead to a very high playing field between industrialized countries and developing countries. And then another thing that is very relevant, that is a global driver in making innovation have a ripple effect, would be sovereign finance. Most recently, or actually this has been going on for a long time, there's emergence of new models of state supported capitalism. There's sovereign finance, especially in countries like Asia. They help in driving development of a more globally distributed capabilities, and it comes in multiple forms. To be honest, it comes in ways that involve sovereign wealth funds. Now we even have venture capitalists. We have angel investors. There are private, and we've got private equity funds also that are basically run by a private sector, and it's managed using investing public money. And with the rise of these, especially in Asia and Middle Eastern economies, like a lot of money has swam through and it flowed into these sovereign wealth funds. And because of that, from the sovereign wealth fund, you can have an adequate access to funding because either way, it's public money. If a country wants to invest in your idea or your innovation, the only thing that would be a limitation for you is the amount of money that they would be offering. But they don't have no limit, to be honest. So, in 2010, about 21 out of 30 sovereign wealth funds executed about 172 investments, and they were valued at over $52 billion. So that is a huge driver I would even call it a catalyst um, towards making sure that innovation is being dispersed globally, even though, I mean, there are certain countries that are lagging behind, but the world would get there eventually. So we can talk about innovation in Africa. Um, when I think about innovation in Africa, I think about the leapfrogging technologies, our entrepreneurial spirit, um, because sometimes we have to make do with less. We have a way of incorporating a very frugal method of innovation. But I'm going to just break these down just for a better understanding. So, Africa has demonstrated a very remarkable ability to leapfrog traditional technologies and embrace innovative solutions in areas such as mobile payments. Look at what Kenya is doing with OPay, in areas such as renewable energy and e commerce. And African entrepreneurs have kind of found a way of harnessing the power of technology, and they use it to overcome infrastructural challenges. You would see, I think there's been a lot of stories of how people have helped their village have access to electricity and just other basic infrastructure that we're lagging behind in regards to the world standards. And Africa is using innovation in bringing essential services to underserved populations. And then we have entrepreneurial spirit. Africa's entrepreneurial spirit is majorly a driving force behind Africa's innovation. There's a growing number of startups and social enterprises that are fast emerging. They've been doubling up in numbers every other year, and they're addressing pressing challenges. So it's not even for you know luxurious problems. It's they're addressing major pain points that are being saddled in the society. So, and they are also creating new opportunities. So the innovative ventures leverage a lot of technology, local knowledge, and creative business models to tackle issues in regards to healthcare, agriculture, education, and financial inclusion. So we deal with frugal innovation in being very cost effective and finding cost effective solutions because we have very limited resources to deal with. And entrepreneurs and innovators have developed these approaches of problem solving that is very affordable and scalable for them. And hope everything is okay. So there's also an opportunity for digital transformation.
I'm sorry, sorry. Bello, Satya, could you please mute yourself? Sorry for the disruption. You can continue.
Oh, no worries. Thank you. So there's like opportunities for digital transformation. Many innovations in Africa have a very strong social environment and environmental challenges that involves poverty, healthcare accessibility, and climate change. So where Africa is really trying to improve on that, and that also has to lead to having a very collaborative ecosystem. And collaboration and partnership is very crucial in fostering innovation across Africa. And entrepreneurs, governments, investors, even the academia and nonprofit organizations are like working together to create a supportive ecosystem. There's a lot of incubators and accelerators and innovation hubs that have been emerging even in Nigeria and across the continent. and they're providing resources for mentorship and networking to nurture innovation. And so, innovation in Africa is also very deep rooted to culture and contextual relevance because of how much strong ties we have or connection we have to our roots. And that is why a lot of the innovation is heavily focused on addressing communal challenges, and it enhances innovation adoption faster, and it ensures that everything that is being done is being resonated by with the locals. And there's also like a huge opportunity for digital transformation and a social impact that goes with that, and that is heavily in line with the cultural and contextual relevance. um, I'm running a little bit over time. I'm going to try to round this up. So, innovation investment in Africa, and this is based off of a report um, that was released in 2023. So, the key or grossing cities or countries that can be called out when it comes to innovation would be Nairobi, Kenya, it would be Lagos, Nigeria, and Cape Town in South Africa. And each of them actually have unique value proposition. And this is also based off of this tech startup scene in sub-Saharan Africa because they've experienced a lot of growth. So Nairobi leads with thriving fintech ecosystem and impressive funding rounds because they have established themselves heavily in areas regarding payments and payment solutions, and they have this very, very good and thriving ecosystem when it comes to fintech. They're representing 41% of total technology startup deals from 2018 to 2022, and so a notable success for them includes a 291 million acquisition of payment startup in 2021. And Lagos, Nigeria's unique position would be standing out with significant funding and high valuations in the African startup scene in general. Everyone has heard about OPay and Flutterwave and how they are like rounding up with their series funding. It could be mostly Series C funding, where they get about $400 million, $250 million, and some of them even push to the point of getting a valuation of like $1 billion. That's the valuation for Flutterwave at the moment. And Cape Town in South Africa shows growth with an increased ecosystem in value and introduction of new disciplines. So they're very multifaceted. The city is seeing about a 23% increase in ecosystem value and the growth in early stage deals. There are so many areas that they're looking at, and the landscape is really supporting an entrepreneurial system, and they have also a lot of access to resources and thriving startup environments. So much to say that when you think about startup in Africa, the first thing that would come to your head would be Cape Town, South Africa, or Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. That's it. So little about thinking like an innovator. You should know where to innovate because that is very important. But as much as you know where to innovate, you need to know how you need to, the steps you need to take to improve on that. You need to be able to tackle the hardest problems first because you can start with the low hanging fruit. You need to look at the major pain point of what is going on, and then you don't throw in the towel and leave things halfway, even if they get difficult. So you should refuse incomplete answers, and it doesn't count until it's in the marker. That's until you're successful, and always try to turn complexity into simplicity. I'm trying to speed this through because I see that we're kind of way over time. So I'm rounding up with this. Thank you so much for listening. But before we reach that point, if you have any questions for me, I could quickly answer questions. And if we don't have that, you could send an email. I'm going to put my email address in the chat, and you can reach out to me through that.
Okay, thank you very much, Fatima. My name is Abdul Muttalib.
Okay.
I'm a head of infrastructure at BASE, also Dr. Slan's PhD student. This is a very wonderful presentation. We thank you so much for this opportunity given to our students. I don't know if the students, any one of you has question, please go ahead and ask Fatima. Any questions from the students? Okay, Fatima, in absence of no questions, we thank you very much for this opportunity given to our students. I appreciate you very well.
All right, then. Thank you so much. I do have a quiz, but I don't know whether we're since we're over time, maybe I could send it to you, and they could go through it in the maybe in the next 5-10 minutes. It wouldn't take much of their time. I could forward that to you. So I could drop it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
It's also on Menti, so.
Yes.
Let me drop my. I'm going to add my email address, and then I would send an email with
Okay.
slide.
Okay, great. We have a Google Classroom, so I'm going to put it in the Google Classroom. Hopefully, maybe in the next an hour or two thereabout, you should be able to get the response from the student. Okay.
Okay, then. Thank you so much.
So a lot of them are not even in the class. So, but pushing it to the classroom, I believe a lot of response to the.
Okay. All right.
So thank you very much. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hello, ma. Hello, Mrs. Fatima.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm fine, ma. Yeah, you said I should remind you at the end of the class.
I'm going to give you. You should send me an email. Can you hear me?
Well, please, can you repeat what you said?
I said, I'm just gonna drop my email now. You can message me. We can connect
All right,
there.
then.
Okay.
All right, then. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right. Thank you once again, Fatima.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right then. Bye.
Okay.